Why would you ever want to keep junk in your home? Well, you wouldn't, but yet you do have a junk drawer. In this video, I'm going to help you get rid of junk drawers so that your home can be a junk-free zone. I'm Dara. I help people live a more minimalist lifestyle so they can focus on what matters most without getting overwhelmed along the way. If you like to live a simpler life, stay tuned for more videos like this one. In this video, I'm going to talk about why junk drawers are such a big problem, but they're often overlooked. And I'm also going to help you decide what to do about them. And by the way, everything that I'm saying about junk drawers can be applied to other groups of miscellaneous items. So if you have a bin called miscellaneous, everything I'm saying, for the most part, applies to this too. So why are junk drawers such a problem? They might seem innocuous, you just have one or two of them. Kind of think that they're useful in some regard because occasionally you'll need something and you know it's in that drawer. So you're thinking like this isn't a big deal. Well, for one thing, everything we don't think is a big deal in our home usually is more of an issue than we think it is. If that weren't true, you probably wouldn't be watching this video right now. So trust me when I say all of these little things add up, and it's how you deal with them and the sort of mindset change that you develop which will help you overall. So back to why junk drawers are problematic. One, they emphasize having junk in your home or having miscellaneous items in your home, which you don't want. So that in and of itself is a problem. Two, they make finding things more difficult. Junk, miscellaneous, that doesn't describe anything. So how are you supposed to find things? It's very important in any organizing to make sure that each item has a home, and to know where that home is, it's gonna have a better name than junk. Three, and this one might be the one I dislike the most. Junk drawers make keeping things you don't really want easier because you don't have to think about it. You can just throw it in there. It's basically avoiding making a decision. And if you had to create a new home for that item, maybe you would just get rid of the item. And I think that is really telling. Four, with junk drawers in particular, we're losing prime real estate. Drawers are one of the best ways to organize your stuff, especially ones that are shallow and that aren't too deep. So instead of using that drawer for something that you want to have easy access to, that you grab often, now that drawer is just filled with a bunch of random things. So hopefully I've convinced you that junk drawers and miscellaneous bins are a real problem. But what do you do about it? I mean, there is a reason you got into this mess in the first place. So step one in getting rid of junk drawers is identifying all of them. And I mean all of them in your home, your kitchen, your office, your garage, all those bins. Figure out where they are. Two, get rid of most of those items. I'm sure you're gonna keep some of the items, that's why you have them, but go through those drawers and bins with a fine-tooth comb, get rid of everything that you don't need. Three, rehome some of the items you're keeping. So some of the items you find, you're gonna realize have a totally reasonable home. So maybe you found in a miscellaneous bin some mittens, and yes, you usually wear gloves, and somehow these mittens ended up in this, miscellaneous bin. So you're gonna go ahead and put those mittens with your gloves. I'm sure most examples won't be that simple, but just think about how you use something and how you categorize things in your mind, and I think you'll be able to rehome a lot of those items. Four is to think about what you can use that empty drawer for, that empty bin. What would actually make your life easier? And you might find that some of the items that had been in the junk drawer were there because some of them actually do live best in that space, but they were surrounded by a bunch of other things that you've just gotten rid of. So now that junk drawer becomes what those things are. So if you end up with a drawer in your kitchen with some small tools and a few pens and a pad that you like to have on hand with easy access to, that's great. Now that drawer becomes note-taking supplies and tools. It's okay to have multiple types of items in one place as long as that list doesn't become some sort of run-on sentence. 5, if you are keeping a bunch of small items in that drawer, use organizers within the space to delineate the different items. One of the reasons things become junk and miscellaneous is that in the space they live in, people sort of just give up and they're like, oh, this drawer, it's junk, so I don't have to like pay attention. This is about paying attention. So if in these spaces you want to keep a few different types of items, a few different categories of items, that is fine. But just make sure that you're not treating them like junk. If you're keeping something, it should be important to you, so treat it as such. When you do this project, some issues are going to arise. You're going to realize that maybe you don't have homes for certain types of things. You might realize that you have certain types of things scattered all throughout your home, and they really need to be brought together and looked at more closely. I often find this to be the case with what I would call utility items. These are things like batteries, some nails, a measuring tape. So you want one home for those types of things, and you'll end up pulling things from miscellaneous in order to come up with one solid place to organize those items. Let me warn you about something. This is very common. You're starting to think, okay, maybe I should like listen to Dara. She might know something about junk drawers. And you'll be thinking about it and you'll be doing some of the work, and then like one day you'll need that like really random small screwdriver for this one little thing that you happen to need to do in your kitchen, and you'll be like, what was she talking about? See, I needed that. No, that's not true. That's you trying to find a reason to justify keeping things the way that they are. Whatever that little thing was that you thought you needed, you would have just come up with a different solution for it. So don't let the fact that occasionally you would use something found in these junk or miscellaneous bins, don't use that as an excuse to keep things. Don't use that as a reason why, no, really, I said that I would need this and look, I did. No, you would just use something in its place. So that's a really important warning. That's a lot of why we keep junk drawers and miscellaneous bins, are those what-if scenarios. Don't let them trick you. They probably are contributing to why you're feeling a bit overwhelmed with your stuff. Junk drawers, bins labeled miscellaneous, all prevent you from using your space wisely and finding things when you need them, and lead you to keep things that you don't really need. Move away from this miscellaneous mindset for a more mindful and minimalist home. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter so that you can receive my free ebook on how to simplify and provide you with more information in my newsletter that I'm not able to cover on this channel.